The ultimatum. The sky above New Geneva turned an unnatural shade of purple on the day the aliens arrived. Not with explosions or destruction, but with a quiet, elegant descent that seemed almost choreographed. Commander Elena Reyes stood on the United Earth Defense Headquarters rooftop, binoculars trained on the massive ship that hovered above the city center, its hull shimmering with an iridescent material unknown to human science. "Thoughts, Commander?" General Harlow asked, his weathered face betraying nothing. "They could have appeared anywhere, sir," Elena replied, lowering the binoculars. "The fact that they chose the seat of Earth's unified government suggests they've been watching us for some time. The Voluntary Confederacy, that's what they called themselves. Their ambassador, a being named Soreth, resembled a humanoid with skin that rippled like liquid mercury and eyes that shifted color with each blink. They moved with an unsettling grace, as if gravity affected them differently. Within hours of their arrival, screens worldwide displayed the same message, an invitation for Earth to join the galactic community. The price? Adherence to what they called the fundamental laws of interstellar coexistence. Elena found herself in the chamber where Earth's leaders met with the alien delegation. She watched Soreth carefully as the alien outlined the terms. "Your species has progressed remarkably." Soreth's voice had an echoing quality, like multiple beings speaking in perfect harmony. "But to join our confederacy, you must accept certain limitations." The holographic display that appeared showed detailed restrictions on weapon systems, energy generation, and propulsion technology, all capped just slightly above Earth's current capabilities. "Why these specific restrictions?" Elena asked, ignoring protocol. Soreth's eyes shifted to a deep blue. "For universal harmony. Unrestricted technological advancement leads to chaos." "That's not a real answer," Elena pressed, earning a sharp look from the Secretary General. Soreth's fluid features formed what might have been a smile. "There are forces in this universe that require management. The Confederacy has maintained peace for 30 millennia through careful regulation." Later, in a secure briefing room, Elena voiced her concerns. "They're hiding something. These limitations aren't about peace. They're about keeping us contained." "Maybe," General Harlow conceded, "but what choice do we have? They're offering medical technology centuries beyond ours, FTL travel capabilities, access to new worlds. At the price of our ability to advance independently," Elena countered. "Sir, something doesn't add up." 3 days later, Earth's nations voted to accept the Confederacy's terms. Elena watched from the back of the room as treaties were signed, her unease growing with each formal handshake. That evening, she found herself assigned as Earth's military liaison to the alien delegation, a position she suspected was meant to keep her under observation. Her first duty was a tour of the voluntary vessel. Inside, the corridors seemed to bend in ways that defied Euclidean geometry. Soreth led the way, pointing out technologies that made Elena's tactical mind race with possibilities and restrictions. "This propulsion system," Soreth explained, gesturing to a pulsing azure core, "allows travel between stars in days rather than the centuries your current physics suggests necessary." "And will be granted this technology?" Elena asked. "Modified versions," Soreth replied smoothly. "Sufficient for commerce and cultural exchange, but not adaptable for military applications." As they continued, Elena noticed a sealed door unlike the others, marked with symbols that glowed crimson. "What's in there?" she asked. "Confederacy security matters," Soreth responded quickly. "Not relevant to Earth's integration." 6 months passed. Earth received its first approved alien technologies. Medical advances cured diseases that had plagued humanity for centuries. Clean energy systems rendered fossil fuels obsolete. But Elena, now promoted to admiral due to her expertise with alien technology, remained troubled. "They're constantly scanning our military installations," she told her assistant, Lieutenant Marcus Chen. "Not just checking for compliance. They're assessing our capabilities in detail." Chen nodded. "They seem particularly interested in how quickly we adapt their technology." almost like they're afraid of what we might do with it. That night, using security credentials that came with her new rank, Alina accessed the restricted sections of the shared database. What she found confirmed her worst fears. Internal Confederacy communications referred to Earth as a potentially problematic species with concerning development vectors. One message from Soreth to Confederacy leadership stood out. Humans display unusual creativity in circumventing technological limitations. Standard restrictions may not be sufficient. Recommend consideration of the Oversight Protocol. Even more troubling were fragmented references to something called the Void, a cosmic force that had apparently consumed hundreds of civilizations. From what Alina could piece together, this wasn't just a theoretical threat. It was an advancing phenomenon that the Confederacy seemed more interested in containing than defeating. Most disturbing of all, according to the projected path data, Earth lay directly in its path. As Alina shut down her terminal, she made a decision. Earth needed to know what they were really facing, and if the Confederacy was holding humanity back from defending itself, then perhaps it was time to start bending some alien rules. She would need allies. Dr. Kira Nakatomi, Earth's leading genophysicist, would be essential. So would the resources of quantum technologies, the corporation that had pioneered most of Earth's pre-contact space capabilities. And perhaps most importantly, she needed someone inside the Valetari delegation. Her thoughts turned to Ziv, a junior Valetari technician who had shown unusual curiosity about human culture. Unlike the other aliens, Ziv asked questions rather than making pronouncements. It was a risk, but Alina had always been good at reading people, even when those people had mercury skin and kaleidoscope eyes. 3 weeks later, Alina convened a secret meeting in a cabin deep in the Norwegian wilderness. Dr. Nakatoni, Marcus Chen, and Evelyn Watts from Quantum Technologies sat in uncomfortable silence as Alina explained what she had discovered. "Let me be clear," Alina said, showing them the stolen data. "The Confederacy isn't here to help us. They're containing us while setting us up as a sacrifice zone." "Can we be sure of this?" Watts asked, her corporate skepticism evident. Dr. Nakatoni, who had been studying the data on the Void, looked up. "The physics are consistent with a quantum-level entropy wave. It's like a slow-moving black hole, but instead of just consuming matter, it breaks down fundamental forces." "And it's heading toward Earth?" Chen asked. "According to these projections, it will reach our solar system in approximately 35 years. "Why wouldn't they tell us?" Watts demanded. "Why give us technology but keep us from developing defenses?" "Because they're afraid of us," Alina said simply. "Look at human history. When faced with extinction, we don't surrender, we fight. And sometimes we win against impossible odds. I think the Confederacy has been managing the Void for thousands of years, sacrificing outer worlds to protect their core systems. So what do we do?" Chen asked. "Dr. Nakatoni believes there might be a way to disrupt the Void's quantum structure," Alina said. "But building such a weapon would violate our treaty by at least 15 levels of restriction." "You're talking about deliberately breaking an agreement with a vastly superior technological power," Watts said. "They could obliterate us." "Only if they discover what we're doing," Alina countered. "We'll need to build in secret, using what we've learned from their technology, but developing it in ways they don't expect." "Where would we even build such a thing?" Chen asked. "They monitor everything." Alina smiled. "Not everything. The lunar far side has been designated as a cultural preserve. No Confederacy observers allowed. We officially started building an artistic installation there last month." Watts raised an eyebrow. "And unofficially?" "We've been digging deep." As the meeting continued into the night, plans were formed, resources allocated, and a daring project conceived. If the Confederacy wouldn't save humanity from the Void, then humanity would save itself, and perhaps the galaxy in the process. They named it Project Defiance. 3 years passed. On the far side of the moon, hidden beneath the regolith of Daedalus crater, the secret shipyard took shape. Supply chains were disguised, personnel carefully vetted, and every energy signature meticulously masked. The ship they were building surpassed anything humanity had ever attempted. A vessel designed not just to fight, but to challenge the fundamental laws of physics as understood by the Confederacy. Admiral Rice stood at the observation deck, watching as massive robotic arms assembled the hull plating over the skeletal structure of what would become the UES Defiance. Beside her, Dr. Nakatomi monitored quantum fluctuations from the experimental core. "Will it work?" Elena asked. "In theory," Nakatomi replied. "The void operates by destabilizing quantum fields. Our weapon essentially creates a counter-resonance that should restore normal spacetime." "Should?" Nakatomi shrugged. "We're in uncharted territory, Admiral. The Confederacy avoids this entire line of research." "Why?" "I don't know, but I found references in their oldest files to something called the Shapers, beings that supposedly existed before the Confederacy. Whatever the void is, I think the Confederacy fears more than just it." As they spoke, alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. Lieutenant Chen's voice came over the comms. "Admiral, we have a problem. Confederacy vessels have just entered lunar orbit." Elena's blood ran cold. "How many?" "3 warships, larger than anything they've shown us before." "How did they find us?" "Unknown, but they're demanding immediate communication." Elena squared her shoulders. "Time for Plan Omega, then." "Admiral," Nakatomi began, "we always knew this might happen. Kira, get to your station." As Elena hurried to the command center, she reflected on the gamble they had taken. Earth had been given a choice between submission and extinction. They had chosen a third option, defiance. Now they would see if that choice had been worth the risk. Defiance rising. The command center of the lunar facility buzzed with controlled panic as Admiral Elena Reyes strode in. Holographic displays showed 3 Valetari warships in lunar orbit, their sleek hulls bristling with weapon systems far beyond what the Confederacy had previously revealed to humans. "Open a channel," Elena ordered, her voice steady despite the hammering of her heart. The central screen flickered to life, displaying Xorath's fluid features. The alien's eyes had shifted to a deep crimson, a color Elena had never seen before. "Admiral Reyes." Xorath's voice was colder than space itself. "Your species has violated the fundamental laws. Confederacy scanners detected quantum resonance patterns consistent with prohibited weapons development." "We've violated nothing," Elena replied calmly. "The treaty specifies no limitations on artistic or cultural expressions." "Do not insult our intelligence," Xorath hissed. "Our scans reveal a vessel of war beneath the lunar surface. Surrender your facility and all research immediately, or face extinction." Elena smiled thinly. "If you've scanned us, then you know extinction faces us either way. The void approaches Earth, Xorath. Did you think we wouldn't discover that?" The alien's features rippled with what might have been surprise. "How? Your security isn't as perfect as you believe. We know everything, how the Confederacy has managed the void for millennia, sacrificing outer worlds to protect your core systems. How you've held back developing species that might challenge your methods. You understand nothing," Xorath said. "The void is beyond your comprehension." "Perhaps," Elena conceded, "but humanity has a habit of confronting the incomprehensible. We've built a weapon to fight it, not run from it." "Impossible. The physics are more flexible than your Confederacy admits. You have 1 hour to withdraw your vessels, or we activate our defenses." The communication ended abruptly. Elena turned to her team. "Status. Defiance is at 87% completion," Lieutenant Chen reported. "Quantum core is stable but untested. Weapon systems are online but calibration is incomplete." "Dr. Nakatomi." The physicist looked up from her terminal. "The resonance weapon can be activated, but without proper calibration, the effects will be unpredictable. And our conventional defenses. Lunar surface batteries are charged and targeting," Chen confirmed. "But against those ships, He left the implication hanging. "We knew this day might come," Alina said, addressing the entire command center. "Initiate launch procedures. If the Defiance isn't ready to fight, it's at least ready to fly. We'll complete the work in transit." Throughout the hidden facility, klaxons sounded as the launch sequence began. Kilometers below the lunar surface, massive doors began to part, revealing the sleek, angular form of humanity's forbidden creation. Unlike the organic curves of Valetari vessels, the UES Defiance was all sharp edges and aggressive geometry, a visual declaration of human engineering philosophy. At the same moment, Ziv, Alina's contact within the Valetari delegation, transmitted an urgent message. "Fleet Admiral Kelver has ordered your facility destroyed." Xoreth argued for restraint, but was overruled. "3 more warships inbound. The Confederacy fears what you've built." "Time to impact?" Alina asked Chen. "Valetari weapons will be in range in 17 minutes. Then we launch in 15. All personnel to emergency stations." As the countdown proceeded, Alina made her way to the bridge of the Defiance. The ship's interior reflected the same pragmatic design philosophy as its exterior. Functional, utilitarian, built for war rather than comfort. The bridge crew stood at their stations, faces grim but determined. "Admiral on deck," Chen announced as Alina entered. "Status report," she ordered, taking the central command chair. "All systems nominal," reported the tactical officer. "Quantum core at 92% and rising. Hull integrity at 95%. Life support fully functional. Communications ready to broadcast on all frequencies, including the Confederacy's encrypted channels." Alina nodded, surveying her crew. They were the best Earth had to offer. Scientists, engineers, and soldiers, united by the knowledge that humanity's survival depended on their actions. 10 minutes to launch, the automated system announced. "Open a channel to Earth," Alina ordered. "All frequencies, maximum transparency." The communications officer nodded, and Alina addressed her homeworld. "This is Admiral Alina Reyes of the UES Defiance. The Valetari Confederacy has hidden the truth from us. A cosmic force known as the Void approaches our solar system, a force that has consumed hundreds of civilizations. The Confederacy's laws were designed not to help us, but to prevent us from developing defenses." She paused, watching as the first impacts from Valetari weapons struck the lunar surface kilometers away. "We have built a ship, a weapon, to confront this threat directly. The Confederacy fears what we've created. They fear human ingenuity and determination. They have chosen to destroy us rather than allow us to defend ourselves. We launch now, not in aggression, but in defiance of extinction." As she finished, the facility shook violently. "Direct hit on the eastern quadrant," Chen reported. "Breach in sections 12 through 17. Seal those sections and accelerate the countdown," Alina ordered. "Launch in 3 minutes." The massive excavation above the Defiance began to collapse as Valetari weapons found their target. Lunar dust and debris rained down on the ship's hull. 2 minutes to launch. Emergency lights flashed throughout the vessel as systems came fully online. The quantum core, the heart of both the ship's propulsion and its revolutionary weapon, pulsed with energy that defied conventional physics. 1 minute to launch. Alina opened a channel to the Valetari fleet. "This is your final warning. The UES Defiance carries a weapon capable of disrupting quantum fields. If you continue your attack, we will be forced to demonstrate its capabilities." No response came, only increased bombardment. 30 seconds. The bridge crew strapped into their seats as the launch countdown entered its final phase. 10 seconds. 9. 8. The facility's ceiling began to give way as Valetari weapons breached the final layers of protection. 3, 2, 1. Launch. The UES Defiance surged upward with impossible acceleration, its advanced propulsion system pushing through the collapsing facility and the lunar regolith above. As it broke free of the moon's surface, the ship's form was fully revealed for the first time. A kilometer-long vessel of dark, light-absorbing material, its angular design making it appear like a spear aimed at the heart of the universe itself. The Valtteri warships immediately adjusted their attack, energy weapons lancing out toward the human vessel. But the Defiance's defensive systems, derived from but improved upon Confederacy technology, absorbed or deflected the incoming fire. "Target the lead Valtteri ship," Alina commanded. "Minimal power, demonstration only." The tactical officer complied, and a beam of shimmering energy erupted from the Defiance's forward array. When it struck the Valtteri vessel, reality itself seemed to warp around the point of impact. A small section of the alien ship simply ceased to exist, the matter converted to energy in a display of physics that the Confederacy had deemed impossible. "Channel to the Valtteri fleet," Alina ordered. When the connection was established, she spoke with quiet authority. "That was less than 2% of our weapons capacity. The next demonstration will not be so limited. Withdraw your forces immediately." For several tense moments, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the Valtteri ships began to retreat. "They're pulling back," Chen confirmed, disbelief in his voice. "For now," Alina cautioned, "but this isn't over." Indeed, within hours, a much larger Confederacy fleet arrived in Earth orbit. But instead of attacking, they requested a diplomatic channel. This time, it wasn't Soreth who appeared on screen, but a being so ancient that its mercury skin had developed a patina, its eyes a deep, steady purple. "I am High Counselor Velen," the being announced. "You have created something that should not exist." "And yet it does," Alina replied. "Just as the void exists. The threat you hid from us while preventing us from defending ourselves." "The restrictions exist for reason," Velen said. "Thousands of years ago, another species developed similar technology. They called themselves the Shapers. And what happened to them? They created the void." The revelation sent a chill through the bridge. "Explain," Alina demanded. "The Shapers believed they could control quantum resonance to reshape reality itself. Instead, they tore it apart. The void is not a natural phenomenon. It is the result of their arrogance, a wound in reality that grows with each world it consumes. And your solution was to manage its spread rather than heal the wound," Alina said, understanding dawning. "You sacrificed outer worlds to protect your core systems. We tried to fight it," Velen countered. "For millennia, we sought solutions, but each attempt only strengthened it. Management became our only option. Until now," Dr. Nakatomi stepped forward. "Our approach is fundamentally different. We're not trying to destroy the void or control it. We're trying to stabilize the quantum fields it disrupts, essentially healing the tear in space-time." Velen's eyes shifted to a shade of blue Alina had never seen before. "Show me." Over the next days, as the Defiance maintained its position between Earth and the Confederacy fleet, human scientists shared their research with their alien counterparts. What emerged was a surprising truth. The Confederacy had become so focused on containing the problem that they had stopped seeking a solution. Their fear of repeating the Shapers' mistake had led to technological stagnation disguised as wisdom. "Your approach has merit," Velen finally acknowledged, "but it is untested, and the risks are incalculable." "The risk of doing nothing is certain extinction," Alina countered. "We built the Defiance because we refused to accept that fate without a fight." After further negotiation, an unprecedented agreement was reached. The Defiance would be allowed to attempt its mission against the void, but with Confederacy observers on board. If the human weapon failed, Earth would submit to evacuation rather than destruction. 3 months later, the UES Defiance approached the edge of the void, a shimmering darkness that devoured stars at the edge of the Orion Arm. From the bridge, Alina watched as the sensors displayed the quantum distortions that rippled outward from the phenomenon. "It's beautiful in a terrible way," she said quietly. Dr. Nakatomi nodded. The ultimate entropy. If we fail here, it will reach Earth in 32 years. Then we won't fail, Elena said simply. Charge the resonance array. As the Defiance's quantum core channeled energy into the revolutionary weapon, Velen and the other Confederacy observers watched with a mixture of fear and hope. Ready, Admiral, Chen reported. Elena took a deep breath. Fire. The resonance beam lanced out, striking the edge of the void. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, slowly, the darkness began to recede at the point of impact. Instruments showed quantum fields stabilizing, space-time healing itself like skin knitting over a wound. It's working, Nakatomi whispered in awe. But suddenly, the void pulsed, and a shock wave of distorted reality rolled toward the ship. Brace for impact, Elena shouted. The wave struck the Defiance, sending systems into chaos. Warning lights flashed across every console. Quantum core destabilizing, Chen reported urgently. Field integrity failing. Reroute all power to the resonance array, Elena ordered. Everything we've got. Admiral, that cold. Do it, Lieutenant. As the ship channeled dangerous levels of energy into its primary weapon, the resonance beam intensified. The point of impact on the void expanded, the healing effect spreading outward like ripples in a pond. But the Defiance was coming apart, its hull breaking under stresses it was never designed to withstand. Elena knew they might not survive this encounter, but humanity would. The data being transmitted back to Earth, and the Confederacy would ensure that, even if the Defiance was lost, its mission would continue. Just as the quantum core reached critical levels, something unexpected happened. The void responded. Not with aggression, but almost like an immune system recognizing medicine. The darkness retreated further, faster, the wound in reality actively participating in its own healing. It's sentient, Nakatomi realized. Not conscious, but responsive, like a complex system seeking equilibrium. Can we communicate with it? Elena asked. Not directly, but we can. Encourage the healing process. Elena nodded and made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. Modulate the resonance pattern. Let's give it the template it needs to repair itself. For 72 hours, the Defiance maintained its position at the edge of the void. Its resonance weapon transformed into a healing tool. The ship suffered catastrophic damage, but its core mission succeeded beyond anyone's expectations. Where once the void had been projected to consume hundreds more worlds, including Earth, it now began to shrink, the tear in reality slowly knitting itself closed. When the Defiance finally limped back to Earth, escorted by the Confederacy fleet, it was not as a warship but as a symbol of what humanity could offer the galaxy. Not just defiance in the face of extinction, but innovation, courage, and hope. In the aftermath, the Confederacy's restrictive laws were reformed. Earth took its place in the galactic community not as a protected child, but as an equal partner. The UES Defiance was retired to become a museum ship, a reminder that sometimes the greatest victories come not from overpowering an enemy, but from transforming the fundamental nature of the conflict. Admiral Elena Reyes stood on the observation deck of the New Earth Embassy on the Confederacy homeworld, watching alien ships come and go. Beside her, Velen's ancient eyes had shifted to a color she had learned represented profound respect. You were right to defy us, the High Counselor admitted. For too long, we managed problems rather than solving them. Fear will do that, Elena said, even to beings as advanced as yours. What will you build next, I wonder? Velen asked, a hint of the old wariness returning. Elena smiled. Something wonderful, I hope. Defiance was necessary. But it's not who we are at heart. Humans build. We create. We explore. We transform. Your Confederacy has stood for 30,000 years. With what we can learn from each other, imagine what we might achieve in 30,000 more. As she spoke, a new ship departed Earth's orbital shipyard. The UES Discovery, the first of a new class of vessels designed not for war, but for exploration and research. Its mission: to find other wounds in reality and heal them, to transform ancient threats into new opportunities. The age of restriction was over. The age of possibility had begun.